Hi, this is Furkan and you are listening to Informative Stall. In this video, we are going to discuss software development lifecycle models in detail. In the first part of video, we are going to discuss software development lifecycle. What is software development lifecycle? In the second part of video, we are going to discuss types of software development lifecycle. In the third part of video, we are going to discuss a type of software development lifecycle model which is waterfall model, and this is very first model and we are going to discuss in third part. And in the fourth part of video, we are going to discuss iterative model which is also known as incremental model. And in the last part of video, we are going to discuss the modern development lifecycle model which is known as Agile model. So without wasting our time, let's start our today's video which is on software development lifecycle model. Software development lifecycle, which is also known as Sdlc. Software development lifecycle is a process used by software industry to design, develop and test high quality softwares. The Sdlc aims produce a high quality software that meets or exceeds customer expectations. By using Sdlc, software production reaches completion within time and cost estimates. So, what is the basic definition of Sdlc? Sdlc is a framework defining tasks performed at each step in the software development process. In building a software, Sdlc framework involves steps. Those steps include further details. These steps are requirement analysis and planning, defining requirements, designing the architecture, building or developing the product, testing the product, deployment in the market and maintenance. Now we are going to discuss these steps further in detail. The first step is requirement analysis and planning. It is most important and first step in Sdlc. Requirements are collected from customer by interviewing them and ask questions to understand them. Once the requirement analysis is completed, then we starting the planning phase. Planning is all about deciding in advance what to do, how to do, when to do, who to do. After answering questions, the planning phase is completed. It is noted, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Now the second step is defining requirements. Once the requirement analysis is done, the next step is to clearly define and document the product requirements and get them approved from customer. This is done through an SRS, Software Requirement Specification. Document consists of all the product requirements to be designed and developed during the project life cycle. Once this second phase is completed, we are going to design these requirements, which is going to be the third step of the product life cycle. Based on requirements, more than one product design architecture is proposed and documented, which is known as Design Document Specification. The DD is reviewed by all the stakeholders, which are also called as partners, and best one is selected for further assessment. Once designing the requirements is completed, we are going to build these requirements, building or developing the product. In this stage of Sdlc, the actual development starts and the product is built. The programming code is generated as per DDS, which is Design Document Specification. When the software is built, the testing phase is under supervision. In this stage, product defects are reported, tracked, fixed and retested again and again until the product reaches the quality standards defining in the SRS Software Requirement Specification. Once the testing phase is completed, the deployment phase is under supervision. Once the product is tested, it is ready to be deployed. It is released formally in the appropriate market. We are going to discuss today Sdlc models. There are various software development lifecycle models defined and designed which are followed during the software development process. That's why these models are also referred as software development process models. Each process model followed a series of steps unique to its type to ensure success in the process of software development. Following are the most important and popular Sdlc models followed in this industry. The first one is Waterfall Model, Iterative Model, Spiral Model, V Model, Big Bang Model. Other related methodologies are Agile Model, Red Model, Rapid Application Development, and Prototyping Model. The Waterfall Model. The Waterfall Model was the first process model to be introduced. It is also referred as to a linear sequential life cycle model. It is very simple to understand and use. In a waterfall model, each phase must be completed before the next phase can be begin, and there is no overlapping in the phases. The waterfall model illustrates the software development process in a linear sequential flow. This means that any phase in the development process begins only if the previous phase is complete. In this waterfall model, the phases do not overlap. The waterfall approach. The whole process of software development is divided into separate phases. In this waterfall model, typically the outcome of one phase acts as the input for the next phase sequentially. The sequential phases in waterfall models are requirement gathering and analysis, system design, implementation, integration and testing, deployment of system, and then maintenance. These all phases are as same as we are discussed earlier in our software development lifecycle video. All these phases are cascaded to each other, in which progress is seen as flowing steadily downwards, like a waterfall. Through the phases, the next phase is started only after defined set of goals are achieved for the previous phase and it is signed off. So the name waterfall model, in this model, phases do not overlap. Now we are going to discuss waterfall model applications. Every software developed is different and requires a suitable Sdlc approach to be followed based on the internal and external factors. Some situations where the use of waterfall model is most appropriate are: the first one is the requirements are very well documented, clear and fixed. The second applications is where we use waterfall, product definition is suitable. Technology is understood and is not dynamic. There are no ambiguous requirements. Resources with required expertise are available to support the product. The project is short. We are going to discuss a type of Sdlc model which is known as iterative model. The basic idea behind this model is to develop a system through repeated cycles. Those cycles are known as iterative, and these cycles are built in small portions at a time incrementally. An iterative life cycle model does not attempt to start a full specification of requirements. Instead, development begins by specifying and implementing just part of the software, which is then reviewed to identify further requirements. This process is then repeated, producing a new version of the software at the end of each iteration of the model. In the incremental model, the whole requirement is divided into various builds. During each iteration, more than one iteration of the software development life cycle may be in progress at the same time. The development module goes through the requirements, design, implementation, and testing phases. Each subsequent release at the module adds function to the previous release. The process continues till the complete system is ready as per the requirement. The key to a successful use of an iterative software development life cycle is validation of requirements, verification and testing of each versions of the software against those requirements within each cycle of the model. As the software evolves those successive cycles, tests must be repeated and extended to verify each versions of the software. What is Agile model? Agile Sdlc model is combination of two models, iterative model and incremental process model, with focus on process adaptability, customer satisfaction, and rapid delivery of working software product. Agile methods break the product into small incremental builds. These builds are provided in iterations. Each iteration typically lasts from about 1 to 3 weeks. Every iteration involves cross-functional team working simultaneously on various areas like planning, requirement analysis, design, coding, unit testing, and acceptance testing. At the end of each iteration, a working product is displayed to the customer and important stakeholders. Agile model believes that every project needs to be planned differently and existing methods need to be changed to best suit the project requirements. In Agile, the tasks are divided to time boxes, small time frames, to deliver a specific feature for release. Iteration approach is taken and working software build is delivered after each iteration. Each build is incremental in terms of features. The final build holds all the features required by the customer. We are going to discuss the Agile Manifesto principles. There are 4 Agile Manifesto principles. Those are individuals and interactions, working software, customer collaboration, and responding to change. In Agile development, self-organization and motivations are important, as are interactions like co-location and pair programming. In working software, demo working software is considered the best means of communication with the customers to understand their requirements, instead of just depending on documentation. In customer collaboration, as the requirements cannot be gathered completely in the beginning of the project due to various factors. Continuous customer interaction is very important to get proper product requirements. In responding to change, Agile development is focused on quick responses to change and continuous development. Now we are going to discuss the basic difference between Agile and traditional Sdlc models. Agile is based on adaptive software development methods, whereas the traditional Sdlc models like the Waterfall model is based on predictive approach. Predictive terms in the traditional Sdlc models usually work with detailed planning and have a complete forecast for the exact tasks and features to be delivered in the next few months or during the product life cycle. Agile uses an adaptive approach where there is no detailed planning and there is clarity on feature tasks, only in respect of which features needed to be delivered, and team adapts to the changing product requirements dynamically. Customer interaction is the backbone of the agile methodology, and open communication with minimum documentation are the typical features of agile development environment. The agile team work in close collaboration with each other and are most often located in the same geographical location. The product is tested very frequently through the release of iterations, minimizing the risk of any major failures in the future. This is all from our Agile